Okay.
Let me hook it.
You want to hug it?
I'm hooking it.
You do love this thermostat.
It's a good thermostat. It actually is. It's probably, well, I know it's our most. I know it's our most popular one. We put it in. It meets all the requirements for energy conservations and Energy Star qualifications. It's fully programmable. It runs. You can use with or without batteries. Has 7-day programmable. It'll work with heat pumps, straight air conditioners. This particular one is the widescreen display. They make the same one in a smaller display.
Would that be that one, the 3000?
Well, no, they make a 6000. It only has about a 2-inch screen, so a bit cheaper.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's like something you'd find at Lowe's or Home Depot.
Exactly.
Right.
But the Pro model that we carry is the larger display, and
Right.
they also make it in a 5000, which is the same thermostat like we have on the wall there, but it's not programmable. So
Okay.
if you don't need the program, you can get the 5000. Most people, well, not most people, a lot of people don't want to mess with the program. They'll buy this one and then just put it in hold the whole time, kind of defeats the purpose.
Right. Hey, let's go hook it up. No, but Honeywell's come with batteries.
Yeah, all of our models come with the batteries. You can put them in for backup in case the power goes out. It won't lose its programming.
Yeah, but still.
But you don't have to.
No.
On most modern systems, they have a common wire in.
So we're doing a 5-wire hookup today. You're going to explain a 5-wire hookup.
Yeah, I'm gonna have 2 wires to actually hook up.
Yeah, well, you're going to hook up power and off your transformer. That's when we test
Yeah, we can use
thermostats.
them to test it,
Program
make
them.
sure some of them say they're bad, and then we bring them back in. There's something wrong with them.
Yeah, so customers can get a bit confused. Okay, you're breaking it out. That's
All
the
right,
back
you got a
plate.
sub base and the main thermostat. Sub bases, they're all pretty much standard, but they don't recommend you crossing them from like your old one to your new one.
Right.
Because even though they're identical the same, they still don't recommend it. This particular one has conventional. If you have gas or an oil,
Right.
you use the top lines. If you have a heat pump, you use the bottom. If you see this C is optional with batteries, that's your common lead. It's like a ground. You don't have to have that. If you don't have that wire, you do have to use batteries.
Okay, so say that again for the person who's a bit of a neophyte.
If you don't have the common wire, which typically is blue or brown,
Okay, yeah.
then you will have to use batteries.
Right. So in other words, that's the time you're going to use batteries.
Yes, sir.
That's all it is.
Right.
I like using the house transformer lines coming from the main
Yeah,
board.
yeah, well, that's always the better option.
Yeah.
If it's but on old furnaces, they only run a 4-wire.
Mhm.
You don't have that extra wire, then that's what
Yeah.
you have to do.
Okay.
You've got R, C, and R. These are your hots. These are your power wires coming in. They're usually jumpered.
Right. I was gonna
The
say
only
that.
time they won't be is like in an oil furnace situation where you have 2 transformers. One controls the cooling, which is the C, and one controls the heat. Then you would take that jumper out.
Okay.
Modern systems, splits, heat pumps, all that, you only have 1 transformer. They will stay together.
Okay.
Y typically controls your compressor.
Okay. That's your compressor on your heat pump or your air conditioner
or air conditioner,
outside.
Either one, yes, sir. Common, we talked about that.
Right.
W is going to be unconventional. It brings your heat on.
Right.
That's the signal to bring your furnace on.
Right.
G is your fan.
Right.
If you put fan in the on position, it energizes this.
Like your air handler.
Right. Well, conventional would be a furnace.
Or
Yeah.
furnace. Yeah.
To blow. Typically, when you turn the heat on, the thermostat's going to energize the W and the G at the same time.
Okay.
W2 and Y2 are both if you have multiple stage units.
Right.
Second stage of heat. You know, a lot of our high efficiency units have 2-stage gas valves.
Right.
You have 2-stage gas valve. That's what the 2 is for. It tells it when to come on. Same with 2-stage compressors for the Y. Bring the second compressor on.
And also a heat pump.
Now, yeah, this will also work a heat pump.
Okay, go ahead.
The R and the RC we talked about typically is always jumper together. Y is going to control your compressor. Now, the difference here is in the heat pump mode, the Y is going to run in heat and cool.
Right.
So if you've got this set for heat pump, it's always going to send power on the Y. A lot of customers that don't know the difference will set it up as a heat pump even though they have a straight air conditioner
And have both on.
and bring their heat and air conditioner on at the same time.
Not efficient.
No. Common, like we talked about.
Right.
O/B is your reversing valve. On a heat pump, you have a reversing valve, which is like a transmission.
Right.
It's going to send power. 90% of your units are energized in O. That brings the air conditioning on.
Mhm.
It'll shift, bring the cool air in. You turn it off for heat. It
Right.
de-energizes this, shoots
Shifts
out
it
in
outside,
the heat.
yeah.
The only models, Ream, Rude, and there's a couple of Ameristars out there now
Really?
that energize in B,
Which is by train.
which is made by Train.
Right.
Yeah, the entry-level Train
Yeah,
models.
right.
Why they, I'm assuming maybe Rude or
It's
Ream
making them.
build
Yeah,
them possibly.
probably. Yeah.
G is the fan.
Right.
Aux/E, you have that little emergency heat on your. That's going to bring that on.
That's resistance heat.
Yep, and it also brings on the auxiliary. If it's real cold out, a heat pump's only good for 34, 35 degrees without
Right.
help.
Right.
That's going to be the auxiliary. L is typically older train models, thermistors and things. You probably won't use that one.
All right. What's a thermistor?
Back in the day, they used them to monitor and like calibrate, and it's got a few different items. So
Okay.
yeah.
So basically, it was
Yeah,
monitoring.
Yeah, you don't really use that
Okay.
nowadays.
All right. Ryan, you just hooked up 2 wires.
Yeah, I only hooked up just to get the screen to come on. We got a power and a common. Kind of like, even though it is AC alternating current, a hot and a ground,
Right.
which is typical of any kind of AC current.
Right.
The common and the hot, the R, is going to bring the thermostat to life. Basically, it's like a distribution center. The only power that comes into it comes in on the R.
Right.
Everything else goes out.
Right.
If you turn the Y on, it opens a little gap here, closes, it closes these two together, shoots
Right.
power out.
And I think your explanation earlier was pretty darn good. So once you slip the faceplate on, the pins will go into it.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
Show us
if
the
you-
back of that, okay? So
If you don't push it, I mean, it's got 4 prongs there to get it pretty square, but I
Right.
have seen instances where these pins
bend.
get bent and then you have problems.
Right. There it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can set the clock
Right.
and the day and everything. We're going to turn it back off, so there's no point.
Right.
But it's easy to do. You just push up and down. Then you go to the day, and then done. Now, that click you heard
Yes.
was the heat on.
Energizing, yeah.
From the factory, all these thermostats, not every Honeywell I've ever seen, is set for one heat, one cool. From the
Right,
factory.
which is the most standard thing there is.
So if you've got a gas and a straight air conditioner,
Yeah.
you really don't have to do a lot of programming.
Right. Hey, the question is, and I did this for my thermostat, and I have a Honeywell 8000, which is a step above this, but really it's just touchscreen, really, with
Right,
the same
yeah,
brains.
same features.
Yeah. Now, I like to leave the light on. Can the 6000?
You can't do it on the 6000.
You can't do it on the
No,
6000.
the 8000 you can hit setting, I think 300, and it leaves that
Right.
background light on all
Right.
the time.
You can't. Okay.
Yeah, this one doesn't offer that. What this one does offer is when you touch it, it will light up. And I think it stays 10, 15 seconds.
Right. Okay. Okay. So it's
System off.
right.
Now you can turn your fan on. You'll hear a click. That clicked the fan on. So
Right.
what that did is on the board, it sent power to that G terminal.
Right.
So
What G is the fan.
The fan, and your blowers should start kicking on.
Right.
Turn that off. Now, even though you just turned it off, most units are going to have either a 60 or a 90-second delay.
Right.
And so the fan's going to continue to run for about a minute.
Right. Which in essence is pulling all the heating or cooling.
It's a safety mechanism.
Yeah. And it's also actually efficient.
Yeah. Any leftover heat that's on the coil, it's going to go ahead and blow it out.
Yeah. Initially, it was for safety because of heat.
Yeah, getting too hot, crack the
Right.
heat exchanger.
Crack the heat
things like
exchanger,
that.
carbon monoxide.
Now, if you put it in air conditioning, and it probably won't go on right away, it has a safety feature, a 5-minute lockout delay.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty cold outside, so we hadn't really warmed up yet.
Yeah.
But you'll see it flash, cool on. That'll flash for approximately 5 minutes. It's a short cycle delay. If the power gets lost or you have power failure, it won't keep trying to kick the compressor on outside
Right.
and burn something up.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
very, very good feature.
Right. And initially, they didn't have them. And
No, the old style
blow 'em up.
thermostats, the mercury thermostats.
Oh yeah. They
didn't
just
have that
click
in it.
over.
They click, click, click. So
Yeah.
your compressor's trying to start. You'll burn wires and windings and everything up.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
you can run a schedule, or you can set the schedule. This one, like I said, does Monday through Friday,
Right.
then Saturday and Sunday
Separate.
separate.
Right. Or together.
The 8000s, like
Yeah.
you were talking about the
yeah.
touchscreen, you can set every day 4 times a day.
That's right.
So they got a little more
And you can
versatility.
do it 2 times. It really leaves
Yeah.
itself open. You
Yeah.
can run it 1 time.
Very
Yeah.
customizable.
Very customizable. Very nice.
Now, if you're going on vacation or you're going somewhere that's not on your normal schedule,
Right.
you can bump it down. It'll say temporary. Now, what that does is it holds it till the next cycle.
Right.
Once the next program comes around,
1:03 p.m.
then it
changes over.
Then it'll go back to its normal schedule unless you hit this hold.
And now
Put it
it's
on hold, it'll stay there until you do anything else.
Right, until you manually override
Yes, sir.
with the hard buttons.
Yes.
That's pretty cool stuff.
Now, this one, we don't have it programmed yet, also has an auto feature.
Okay.
You can do system cool, system heat, or you can put it over into auto. It'll set within.
Well, that's off.
Right. We don't have a program
Right.
yet.
Okay.
But you can set it within 3-4 degrees, and it'll stay in that range all the time.
All
It'll
the time.
shift to heat and cool by itself.
So in other words, you don't need to put your thermostat on heating,
And cool, you can just put it and leave it.
Right.
And never have to touch it again.
which is great.
The program
Especially
is-
for older people. If you have a mom and dad that's getting older in
Yeah,
time.
they don't want to have to mess with
No,
it.
yeah, because
Put it, forget it.
it just fix it, set it. Better off without the batteries because batteries do corrode.
Yep.
And they will destroy everything in the machine.
If you have like a vacation home
Yes,
and you're not going to be there for a while, you know,
Right.
if it's hot or cold,
right,
set it back and put it in the auto feature,
right,
and it'll do its own thing.
right.
To program this, real simple. You push the middle and the up button, and then it goes into the cycle.
So which buttons did you push on the 6000?
The up and
Up
the
and
center.
the middle button.
Yeah, hold
and
it
you
down for
hold it
3
down
seconds.
3 seconds.
Yep. And then, according to the owner's manual, you can adjust for heat pump and the
Stages
Stages.
of cool, stages of
several
heat.
options here,
Variable speed.
and so once you get it all done, you just hit done. It remembers everything.
Right, now she's internally programmed, and you're ready to roll with pretty much any machine you want.
Yeah.
Like my machine, the variable speed, needed special programming.
This will the 6000 it'll work with them. But
Right.
it don't control the humidity like a higher end one.
Right, so,
With
yeah,
a full variable speed system, I wouldn't recommend a 6000.
right, right.
It will work with it, but I don't recommend it.
Cool.